Hello everyone, and welcome to another brand new video, and we have a few things to talk about today for Pokemon Horizons. First things first, we should explain what happened today, and today we finally got the opening for Horizons, the Japanese opening, which is called Heart Pounding Diary or Dokimeki Diary, either name you want to call it. That is the name of the song, and we have it here. Now, unfortunately, I cannot play the song for you guys here, because certainly I would strike for that. But the song is just amazing. I'm going to put a link in the description where you guys can find the song on Twitter. So hopefully you guys will be able to check that out on your own and you'll enjoy it. Once again, it is such a bop. Shout out to Asmi and Chinozo for singing and producing this song. It is just amazing. So now, with that out of the way, let's talk about some other things. Throughout the week, we did get a few different images from the series posted on the official Twitter account for the Pokemon anime, and I'm going to put those images up on screen. We did get to see some images, just some random shots from the show, just some more shots of, say, Liko and Sprigatito, Roy with Fuecoco, Nidothing and Quaxly. We also saw the character expression faces for the Volt Tacklers, Freed's crew, so that was that. And today, at the music festival where we heard the opening for the show, we also got an image of Liko's Homeroom teacher, and he's going to be voiced by a celebrity, so that's why they really mentioned him and showed him off. And I think we're going to see some more footage of him maybe Sunday. I'm not too sure what they're going to show, but either way, whatever they do show throughout the week, I'm going to just try to recap those things, and then we'll just have a big video later on next week. And by the way, guys, set your calendars for next week, because finally, we'll be getting the big 1-hour deep dive onto the series, and we actually have a summary for the deep dive, so I'll go over that for you right now. So the summary reads as follows. The new Pocket Monsters anime, Pokemon anime, is finally starting. The new protagonists, Liko and Roy's venture begins. But just who are Liko and Roy to begin with? And what kind of Pokemon are going to appear? All kinds of mysteries like these surround the new series. And that's why a group of comedians that just can't wait for the new series to premiere form a Pokemon investigation team in order to thoroughly research the mysteries of the new series. Let's go find a new adventure. So essentially it's going to be kind of like a lot of the variety shows in Japan around Pokemon. It's going to be a mixture, I'm assuming, of live action and actual video clips of the actual show. So that'll be something interesting, and this seems like there's going to be a lot of comedians who are part of this little team that they're doing, and they're probably just going to, do some fun little skits to find out some information about the show. But something important to note is that there are two important guests for this special episode, and that's going to be Minori Suzuki and Yuka Terasaki, and those are the voice actresses for Liko and Roy. So that'll be interesting to see, and I'm especially hoping that we at least get some good information on Liko and Roy's characters, especially since they mentioned that line, like who are Liko and Roy, and what kind of Pokemon are going to appear. So hopefully we'll get some information, some really big information, I'm hoping, about the overall backstory behind Liko and Roy, how they set off on this adventure, how they meet Freed, why they're researching Pokemon mysteries, and all their different goals and different things like that. Also, hopefully they, give us more information about Amethio and the Explorers, and also characters like Nidothing. So that'll all be really nice to see. So again, that will be next week, next Friday, 1 hour, mark your calendars. So that's all the pretty big news out of the way, but I didn't want to just make this short little video just talking about some small updates. I wanted to actually make this video and tie it into something I want to talk about for the very beginning of the series, because I have my own little theory for how I think the beginning of the series might start. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be like a total prediction that this is definitely going to happen. I totally expect this to happen, but I just had some minor ideas that I wanted to share, and I figured, why not share them in this video? Since this video wasn't going to be too long, I thought I might, do what I always do, take some time to chat and ramble on and on and on about some ideas. So let's go ahead and do that now, especially since we don't want to waste time doing this next week when we're going to get the deep dive, so let's just get it out of the way here. So, what I want to do in this video is basically talk about my thoughts and I guess kind of predictions for the beginning of the series. I don't want to say the first episode or the first few episodes, because this is really like an idea for how I think the series is going to really take off. So let's just summarize right off the bat. Since we know we're getting an hour special in the beginning, I'm assuming that's going to be 2 separate episodes. The first one is going to be the one we know the summary of already, where it's going to be introducing Liko, showing her going to the Indigo Academy, and getting Sprigatito as her starter. And presumably, this is also going to be where, she realizes that she isn't really bonding with Sprigatito, and eventually, I believe, Amethio is going to show up. and he's going to be allegedly going after her pendant. At least based on what we read from the summary, it says that the explorers are closing in on Liko and going after her pendant. So my guess is that at some point during this first episode, Liko's pendant is going to terrestrialize that shiny Rayquaza, and that's what I'm guessing the mystery around this pendant is, that it allows you to terrestrialize outside of Paldea. Since if we assume that this is following game logic, at least kind of somewhat, you can only use the terrestrial phenomenon in Paldea. So the fact that Liko's pendant is able to terrestrialize this Rayquaza while she is in Kanto at this boarding school suggests to me that that's something big about this pendant, that it can terrestrialize anywhere. So my guess is that at some point, in addition to Amethio and the explorers, Freed and his crew will notice this beam going into the sky, terrestrializing this Rayquaza, and he'll probably go to find Liko. And while Liko is trying to, I think the scene where she's battling Amethio, she'll eventually end up jumping off that clock tower like we see her do at the end of the second trailer, grabbing Sprigatito, about to fall. And I think that's where we're going to see this shot of Freed flying on his Charizard to go save her. So from there, I'm assuming that he'll take Liko, whether back to the airship. I'm sure he'll just land the airship somewhere, and maybe he'll take Liko back there, or they'll just leave wherever they were, the clock tower, wherever they are, and somehow they'll just end up going somewhere safe. And that'll be, I assume that'll be most of episode 1, if not the entirety of episode 1. And I'm guessing we might also maybe see a little bit of Roy. Maybe he'll notice the terrestrialization coming from a distance, and that'll be that. And my guess is that episode 2 will kind of focus a bit more on Roy, and we'll see, like, where he comes from, about his mysterious Pokeball that he has, and I'm guessing he'll at some point meet Freed and Liko. I'm guessing at least it might be through Fuecoco, because in the newest trailer, we see Fuecoco on Freed's ship, but then we see another Fuecoco with Roy, and I don't assume they're going to be two different Fuecoco. I'm assuming that's going to be just one, and maybe it was originally owned by Freed, and then it finds Roy, because the official website does say that Fuecoco meets Roy by chance, so maybe Fuecoco was just kind of on the ship, and then maybe when they landed to go save Liko, Fuecoco wandered off, and then it found Roy, and then maybe they all come together because he tries to bring Fuecoco back where it came from or whatever. I don't know, that's just my guess. That's just my guess for the first few episodes. But moving on from that, I believe that after that, I think that the first thing that's going to happen in this series, like the big starting off point to lead into this adventure, is going to be going to Paldea. And now, don't get, on me for this. Don't be like, oh, Sakura, you just want to see Paldea because you're mad that Galar got shafted so bad and you want to get to Paldea right off the bat. Well, kind of yes, but not really. I mean, first of all, honestly speaking, they're treating Paldea way better than they treated Galar in Journeys. Not only have we seen all three starters right off the bat in the beginning, we also see Amethio with his Ceruledge, and Liko herself is from Paldea, so, and also, again, the pendant terrestrializing, so we're seeing a lot of Paldea already. They're clearly not giving it the Galar treatment right off the bat, so that's good to know, and I really think that with this pendant, I think it's going to set them off into deciding, well, let's go to Paldea to research the terrestrial phenomenon. Since we see this pendant doing this, it can terrestrialize in Kanto away from Paldea, let's go research the terrestrial phenomenon. And I think that's going to be their first, little mini adventure for their, the region hopping for this series. Since we know they're going to be traveling between multiple regions, and we know we're starting off in Kanto, my guess is that their first mission is going to be to head off to Paldea to research the terrestrial phenomenon and Liko's pendant. So, if that is the case, I think that would be great. I really don't see, I don't see what else they would be doing, if this happens, they see the terrestrial phenomenon happening. I feel like the most obvious thing to do would be to head over to Paldea, so that's really what my hope is, that we will be seeing Paldea pretty early by virtue of the fact that they want to go figure out what's going on with Liko's pendant. And I'm going to say right off the bat, I'm not automatically assuming that they're just going to go straight shoot from Kanto to Paldea. That would be great if it did happen, but right off the bat, I just don't think it will. First of all, I think they really are going to want to emphasize the whole region hopping aspect. Since we're starting in Kanto, I don't think they're just going to go straight to Paldea and have them sit there for a bit. I feel like they might take a little bit of a, let's call it the scenic route. They might, stop off in one region here, one region there for a little bit before we get to Paldea. I don't know. Honestly, I really wouldn't mind that too much. Again, with Liko and Roy, at least the good thing is that they are brand new characters, new trainers starting off on their journey, so seeing them in all the different regions won't be nearly as annoying as it was with Ash and Journeys, because he'd already been to Sinnoh, he'd already been to Johto, Hoenn, Unova. There was really nothing interesting about seeing him going back to these other regions. So that's why I think it's going to be way better here with Liko and Roy, and I really wouldn't mind at all if they do stop in a couple regions maybe before they get to Paldea. Not for too long or anything, I'm not saying they need to sit there for like 10 episodes, but if they, stop in, oh, I don't know, Galar for maybe like 5 or 6 episodes, I really wouldn't complain, guys. Also, let's be honest, we really don't need them to go to Paldea to see new Paldean Pokemon. I mean, look at now, how we see in the trailers. We're in Kanto for the first 2 episodes at the very least we know. And we've already seen 4 Paldean Pokemon. We've seen Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Quaxly. And we're going to be seeing Ceruledge. And we also see Apami on the poster, so I'm assuming that's part of Freed's crew's group of Pokemon. So right off the bat, we're already seeing a good chunk of Paldean Pokemon right off the bat, but way more than we saw from Galar in Journeys. So I'm really not too concerned. Plus, again, just being honest, we don't need to go to Paldea to see these Pokemon, and even if they do stop in another region, they can easily just show some Paldean Pokemon there. Like, honestly speaking, nothing is stopping them from showing us some Smoliv in Hoenn, or showing us a Nocli in Chargestone Cave. They can show these Pokemon anywhere, doing anything, so they don't really need to go to Paldea to see these Pokemon, just by virtue of the fact that we're seeing a lot of Paldean Pokemon right off the bat, and we're in Kanto. I don't have too many concerns compared to how I had in Journeys. Journeys really just did not, to me, feel like they really cared about Galar. Galar just felt like an afterthought for most of Journeys. And if we weren't in Galar, we really weren't seeing too many Galar Pokemon. Whereas here, again, we're seeing Paldean Pokemon in Kanto, so right off the bat, things are much better. So I don't have too many fears. I really want to have high hopes this time around that they will, kind of learn from what they did with Journeys and try to improve upon it, and that they will just, I'm not saying that they need to go to Sinnoh and just see Fido walking around everywhere, but like, I don't see a problem with at least, some trainer having some Paldean Pokemon, or any Pokemon from other regions for that matter. So, long story short, that's pretty much my prediction for the beginning of this series. I think after the introductory episodes where we meet Liko and Roy, and they decide to travel with Freed to study Pokemon mysteries and go on adventures, I think their first goal is going to be to go to Paldea to learn about the terrestrial phenomenon. I do have a feeling that they might, if they do that, I do feel like they might stop here and there a few places, just to, again, remind you guys that we're region hopping, and that we're going to be going to all sorts of regions. But either way, again, as long as they can show us like a few trainers here and there with some Paldean Pokemon, maybe see some in the wild, I don't think it'll be too big of an issue. But with all that being said, that's pretty much all I wanted to do for this video. I know I got a bit rambly as usual, but again, I wanted to make this video here since all we really got today in terms of the anime was hearing the opening, which, by the way, again, the opening is a bop. Please go listen to it. Dokimeki Diary is the Japanese name of it. Please go look it up. I will provide you a link from Twitter. But I definitely recommend you guys check it out wherever you want to check it out, because it is just such a great song. I love it, love it, love it. So please check that out. I hope you also enjoyed seeing some of the new screenshots here in this video. But with all that being said, let me know what you guys think we can look forward to for the beginning of this series. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think they're going to go straight to Paldea to learn about the terrestrial phenomenon? Do you think they might go somewhere else? How long do you think it'll be until we see Paldea? Are you fine with not seeing Paldea as long as we get to see some Pokemon and characters elsewhere? Just let me know what you guys think. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you all next week when we go over the big 1-hour deep dive. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you then.